We're very pleased to have New York Governor Mario Cuomo with us. The governor was here a couple of years ago, and we talked about several things in his political life and his personal life, dating back to childhood and even his days as a minor league hand in the Pittsburgh Pirates system. But let's talk about the subject at hand here, which, of course, is the presidential race. In 1988, you advised Michael Dukakis not to respond in kind to the negative attacks of the Bush campaign. Now, Clinton has taken a different approach. He's usually answered right away in his own fashion. Was that right this time, and were you wrong with your advice the last time?
I think it's useful to be a little more precise about 1988. What happened in 88 was, I can recall it very well, it was just before the second debate. The second debate was the debate that started, or very early on, had the question about the death penalty that really devastated Dukakis. It was about 20 minutes to 9, Albany time. I don't remember where the debate was, and Mike called me. He had been calling me all day long. He was sick all day. He had been sleeping, as a matter of fact, for much of the day. He had a heavy flu of some kind. Anyway, he said to me, Mario, they're really throwing all kinds of garbage. I said, I know. He says, you think it's going to stick? I said, I don't think the American people will go for it. I really don't. I think what they like about you, what I like about you, is you're substantive, you're constructive, you're positive, and that's what I would do. I would go to them with a message. Here's what's wrong with the country. Here's how I'm going to change it. I don't want to get involved in the mudslinging. As a matter of fact, I reminded him of a great old expression that came from a Southern politician. Any jackass can kick down a barn. Only a good man can build one. Nice, positive, constructive. I didn't say you shouldn't answer an attack. You know, you should... that he called you a thief, you shouldn't respond. So my advice was, yes, stay constructive. Now, if you'd ask me, is that good advice? I still feel that way, to be honest with you. I've told it to Bob Abrams in his Senate race. I've said it to Bill Clinton. On the other hand, all the evidence is that if you don't slug it out, get dirty as the other guy, you lose. That's what's happening in Abrams and D'Amato. So if you ask me, Bob, is it good political advice? Probably not. If you ask me, is that a good situation? I would say that's disgusting, that we have political campaigns now that have degenerated down to, I go after Costas, and Costas comes after me. And if you're dirtier than I am, you win. That's where you are, and I think it's awful.
You see any light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, and I'll tell you where I saw it. I guess the next to last debate, the middle debate, the good debate, wherever they had the debate that had one moderator, and the candidates were talking to the people and taking questions from the audience. Okay, that debate. Now, here you came as close to being with the people as possible. It's not as close as 39th Street, but it was pretty close. And the people had a chance to speak. And what did they say very early on? Forget that dirt. We're tired of it. You know, we're tired of the marijuana and the girlfriends and all that stuff. I'm out of work, Charlie, or my kid might not be able to get a college education. Tell me about health care. And that's what the people want. And I think the salvation will come from the people, just the way they can reach entertainers, they can reach television by letting you know what product they're looking for, or what they want from politicians are constructive answers. Sooner or later, they'll make that very clear, and the politicians will respond.
For those outside New York who might not be familiar with the reference you made to Abrams and D'Amato, of course, you are firmly in the corner of the Democrat Bob Abrams running against the Republican Al D'Amato, but Abrams made a terrible mistake when he called D'Amato a fascist, and you called him on that right away.
Well, my point was, first of all, fascist was not a good thing to say, but beyond that, the Democrat gives away his strength this year by saying, I'm going to slug it out with you. The Democratic strength this year is, look, what you've had for 12 years isn't working. I'm going to give you something better. I'm going to put you to work. I will make this country kinder and gentler. They promised to and didn't. I will do it. The whole positive construct, I think, is what Democrats need. And what I was saying to Bobby is, number one, it was wrong to say fascist. Get rid of that. And get out of the negative rut. Get back onto the positive.
Let's assume for a moment that Clinton maintains the lead and wins. It seems to me that he still has a problem. Just because Bush can't lay a glove on him, comparatively speaking, doesn't mean that the American people don't have legitimate questions about the guy. Bush is trying to make his campaign based on trust, but he has such liabilities in that area himself that he can't make the case effectively, but that doesn't mean there isn't a case to be made, and it might be something that Clinton has to overcome once he's in office.
Yeah, this is a really dumb game, this politics. It really is a stupid game if you think about it. The way President Bush is playing the game, it's a game where you can win by striking the other person out, even if you never score a run. I mean, President Bush is running for office. He's been president for 4 years. He's not coming to the American people and saying, well, here's what I did for 4 years. I was the environment president. See how all those trees are growing? I was the anti-drug president. See, there's no more crack. I was the education president. See how come all your kids are getting smarter? He's not saying that. He's saying, I can't talk to you about my record. I'm going to tell you the other guy's a bum. Now, it's possible to win that way. That's the point we made before. He's not going to win. Clinton's going to win, but he's going to do this, I'm afraid. If he, as the President of the United States, says for the next, what's remaining of the campaign, every day, you can't trust this man, you can't trust this man, some of that will stick. And then Clinton will win, and the American people will say, okay, he's our president, but we have that little reservation about him because of what President Bush said over and over and over again. So I'm afraid that the best President Bush can accomplish with his tactic is to give us a slightly blemished president instead of what we need desperately, and that is the strongest possible leader to lead us out of the worst problem since 1932.
But not solely because of what President Bush has said. Partly, but also because it appears that Clinton, even to an impartial person, it appears that Clinton has hedged on some things, has not been as forthcoming as he should have been. And that's a liability he may carry with him.
I have a different view of that. I really do. Now, and I'm not straining to make a case for him. I could do that, too. I'm an advocate. I'm a lawyer, and I'm very much in his corner. I nominated him, and I'm absolutely committed to his winning because my state needs it. I have 18 million people. We have not been well treated by Washington. We have big problems. I want a good president, so I'm with him. But being absolutely objective about it, Clinton is more subtle than most politicians. He is brighter than most politicians. He is better educated than most politicians. He has been a governor for a long time. He started as a young man. He got beaten in a governor's race, and that stung him. Since then, he's been a lot more eclectic, a lot more reflective, a lot more careful. What you see in Clinton when he talks about the free trade agreement, it's a good idea, free trade, but there are problems, too. I like the idea of free trade, but I think we ought to have some special... That's subtlety. What he sees are nuances, and he's explaining them all to the American people. What most politicians give you is black and white. Why? Because it's easier to communicate on a bumper sticker. It's easier if you give me 15 seconds to just say it in hyperbole and absolutes. Clinton isn't doing that. He's being honest. He's saying, look, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's what life is. You'd like it to be black and white, but most of it is gray. And so I think to some extent he's a politician, but all politicians are going to be cautious. I think more the case is with Clinton that he is showing you dimension you're not used to. You want to hear it nice and clear. I'm for the North American Free Trade Agreement. It's terrific. It's not like that. There are very few things, very few answers now that are absolutely terrific. You know, they all have shades, and he's trying to deal with the shades.
A nuanced point of view on issues, I think, can be appreciated. Probably it's what a lot of the electorate is looking for. However, when it gets to the personal things, which in and of themselves may not be important, but the way one responds when asked may reveal something. That's the kind of hedging I think people have reservations
about. Like what, draft issues?
The draft, yeah.
Bob, I'm a lawyer. You ask President Bush, pick a year, about 23 years ago, Mr. President, pick any day. Where were you? Prove to me you didn't commit a sin that day. I mean, the people would laugh. They'd say, that's absurd. Now they get Bill Clinton. They talk about some event 20 years ago. They want to know exactly what he said to every person, exactly what he meant by every word he uttered. Is he cautious about it? Did he say some things you could perceive to be contradictory? Oh, yeah, I think he did. But who wouldn't about an event that happened that long ago?
But not just some event. I don't mean to put you in the position of having to be his advocate.
No,
he's the guy running, not you.
But I'm comfortable with it. I am his advocate.
But not just some event. One of the most important events in any young man's life, I remember where I was, what I was doing, and who I was with when they drew my draft number, and I remember what I was thinking in terms of what my options were. So it's not like saying, how did your date with Sally Jones go the next day?
Gosh, you remember the batting averages of guys who played 6 weeks, so you don't count. I mean,
or even you, who played 6 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. And if you want to say that you can find in the record of this campaign moments of inconsistency, that's certainly true of President Bush. It's true of Perot, and it probably is true of Bill Clinton as well. I'll give you that. And I'm not sure that the Clinton campaign has denied that.